Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. How you doing tonight? How you doing in the morning? How you doing in the afternoon? Because I don't know when you'll get into this video. Let me just say, man, please like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Subscribe to the channel, become a member to the channel. And leave that donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. Hey, look, man. I don't even have any jokes today, man. Gervonta Davis. What's up with everybody thinking Gervonta Davis can't fight anymore? Huh? Got a little bit of ups and downs in his personal life, got a little bit of ups and downs in his professional life, and all of a sudden, people out here thinking Gervonta Davis can't fight. People out here thinking Gervonta Davis can't knock you out anymore. People out here thinking Devin Haney will beat Gervonta, thinking Shaquille will beat him, thinking Teofimo will beat him, thinking Floyd Schofield will beat him. What the hell happened to people? Now, I do understand if somebody's not focused, they can lose in that ring, right? I say it about some of the female fighters, I say it about some of the male fighters, just because I think highly of Gervonta Davis as a fighter. I got to say the same thing there, but I don't understand how people are just acting like Gervonta Davis can't fight anymore. Gervonta Tank Davis, because that's what he is. One of the most dangerous fighters in the world and one of the most misunderstood. And it's hard to understand him if you haven't walked in his shoes. It's hard to understand a lot of people, man. I know sometimes when we create content, even myself, sometimes I have to stop and check myself after I do a video or a couple of videos. I'm like, you know what? I'm not showing as much understanding of a fighter as I should, because I understand people. Sometimes you get caught up in the emotions and the content, and sometimes I get caught up in, sometimes the narrative and the humor, whatever it is I'm trying to, whatever my objective is with the video. But I do think it's important to try to take a deep breath before content creators do videos, or for people who judge these fighters and look at the chaos around personal lives, look at the distractions, look at the periods of inconsistency. And I think when you do that, you start to get a better understanding, because I think people forget the most important thing when it comes to Gervonta Davis is inside that ring, that man is a sleeping giant. I don't care that he's 5'4", 5'5". Gervonta Davis is a goddamn giant. A giant who can wake up at any moment. A giant who only needs one fight, one punch, one moment to remind the entire boxing world why he's one of the hardest, most explosive punchers pound for pound. And this is the problem. People are forgetting. That's like they got little Roy Jones. Like they're the people Roy Jones was talking about. Y'all must have forgot. And Gervonta Davis is the one to remind everyone. But we've seen this pattern play out before. Throughout boxing history. Ain't nothing new. We've seen it happen before. A power puncher can look flawed, rusty, unmotivated, or even inexperienced on the wrong night. Right? It happens. But let them refocus. Let them feel disrespected. Let them sense a challenge. And suddenly the entire sport remembers how dangerous they truly are. That's Gervonta Tank Davis, and that's the point I think he's at right now. Is he going to return to boxing? I don't know. Only he knows. But I truly feel that's what's going on with him. And I'm just telling you, let that giant sleep, because all these fighters who are out here talking trash, they get in the ring with him, I tell you, they're going to have a little bit of that pucker factor going on, because they know Gervonta Davis ain't nothing to play around inside that ring. And that's exactly what Gervonta Davis represents right now, a fighter who's been through storms inside and outside the ring, but still carries nuclear power in both hands. And if you push him, if you taunt him, you underestimate him, you better be prepared for the consequences. Because waking a sleeping giant always comes with a price. And that's a price that most people, they don't want to pay. The thing that separates Gervonta Davis from most fighters is not just his power, you know what I'm saying? Although the power is real, it's undeniable, but it's his ability to find that one perfect moment. He can find it. And once he does, it's over. Someone's going to be chest to canvas, ass in the air, like at a Diddy party. Tank is not a reckless brawler. He's a thinker. He's strategic. He sets traps. He's not some wild, undisciplined puncher swinging for the fences, hoping to land something. He's not a Ruslan Provodnikov, even though he was no joke. He's not a Ricardo Mayorga, even though he was no joke. Gervonta Davis is a thinking puncher. Kind of like Shadesha Green is a thinking puncher. A sniper. A strategist hiding inside a knockout artist's body. He sets traps like Floyd Mayweather. Calculates like Andre Ward. And then a finisher like Deontay, Bronze Bomber Wilder. And that is a huge compliment. And some people may say, yo, that's a bit of hyperbole there. Nah. What I'm doing here is just being real. You know what I mean? It's tantamount to any of these NBA players want to compare great things of players doing to Michael Jordan, the guys of the past, right? So don't come and tell me that I'm exaggerating. Hell no. It's the truth. Gervonta Davis sets traps like Floyd Mayweather. He calculates like Andre Ward. He finishes like Deontay Wilder. The combination of patience, timing, and explosiveness is what makes him so terrifying. And that's why right now, he's just kind of disappeared from the scene and everybody's up and about and they talking trash. But they don't realize the sleeping giant hasn't really gone that far away. He's just over there chilling, taking a little rest. But he hears the noise. He's sleeping, but he's hearing the noise. And when he wakes up, everybody gonna scatter. And that's why, calling him a sleeping giant, it's not disrespect. It's probably the most accurate description of where he is right now, Everyone knows what he's capable of. But because he hasn't been, the most active, he's had setbacks. I get it. He's had personal issues. I get it. I've seen the videos and some of that shit tells me, okay, there's nothing going on with him. Other stuff is like, okay, I hear that he did this, but where's the proof? So I don't know what to think about Gervonta Davis and his personal issues. You know what I'm saying? I don't. And I get it. Some people say from where there's smoke, there's fire. Your name keeps coming up with stuff. I get that too. I do. I get there may be some little bit of drama. That doesn't mean that he's necessarily guilty of anything, but I'm a man. I know how shit goes. But I'm also a guy who's had my share of dealing with women. And my name didn't come up in a bunch of bullshit like that. But I have had my share of situations of similar stuff. And I know, I didn't do anything. But again, I try not to be judgmental. But the personal issues is the thing that I think people were looking at. Then they started relaxing. They started saying, oh, yeah, he's got too much going on. Yeah, we can get comfortable now. We could probably beat him. Fans are saying, nah, he's not focused. Yeah, the giant, he got too much shit going on in his personal life. So professionally, where he's been the most dangerous and had the most control, yeah, Gervonta, the sleeping giant's not dangerous anymore. Now they want to come out there while he's sleeping and they want to grab these little sticks and shit and start poking the giant in the body. Yeah, giant, get your ass up. What you gonna do now, giant? Poke you in the ribs. Yeah, you keep poking that giant's body with them sticks while he's sleeping, forgetting the moment that the giant opens his eyes, the energy changes immediately. Run for your lives. Take cover. Someone's gonna die. The energy will change when Gervonta Davis decides he wants to talk his stuff and put the bing bings on somebody. Every fighter knows that a power punch is only one sequence away. One sequence away from changing the entire sport. You've seen it. It's been going on for years. Foreman. Shit, even, Mike Tyson, Wilder. You know what I'm saying? The moment these guys who can crack, they land something clean, suddenly the whole world goes from laughing at them to apologizing. And those sticks who've been poking them in the ribs while they're sleeping, they haul ass. And when it comes to these fans who are out here like, screw you, Gervonta Davis, you sleeping giant, you're a nothing, you've always been horrible, you can't fight. Yeah, they start flipping this shit. I told you Gervonta was that guy. I told you. Overnight, that shit happens, doesn't it? It's amazing. One knockout changes public perception. Boxing fans are emotionally charged, they're reactionary, they're tribal, and, very forgetful. A fighter can be doubted for a year straight, 2 years straight, then boom, they come back and decide, I'm going to do the business, and they get a viral knockout. Shit is up from there, you know what I mean? The entire world pretends they support him the whole time. Let's be real. That's not the case with Gervonta Davis. There are a lot of people who don't like Gervonta Davis. They feel that he's cherry-picked opponents, just basically, man, took care of his bank account, didn't take care of the fans' demands. And it's their fight. It's their feelings. So if they feel that way, it is what it is. But I'll tell you this. I understand Gervonta and how he navigated his career. People forget in the beginning, Gervonta was out here busy and he was fighting. He was going for the business. But then he became, instead of trying to do the business in the ring, he started focusing more on the business outside the ring. And he was smart. He took little to no damage. And dude made damn near a gazillionaire, you know what I'm saying? You can't fault that. But I do understand, fans being like, what about your legacy, my man? What about having the fights where the best fight the best? Even right now, everybody knows Gervonta is one of the best. Before, they thought he was the best at the lighter weight class, but now they're like, they don't know. But one thing they do know, right, is when it comes to Gervonta Davis, he's one of the few fighters with that level of instant comeback ability. He doesn't need 6 tune-up fights. He doesn't need a year-long rebuild, a 2-year-long rebuild like how Eddie Hearn did Anthony Joshua. Nah, he doesn't need the rebranding campaign. He doesn't need all that crap. All he needs, like Nas needed, all I need is one mic. All Gervonta needs is one highlight. One left hand, southpaw, brutal finish. And the same people who doubted him will be calling him the most dangerous lightweight alive. Hey, what, 135, right? He's lightweight and shit. Anyway, who gives a shit? I ate too much turkey. But that's what it means to be a sleeping giant, man. The power is always there. Always there. The potential is always there. It's just waiting for the right moment to awaken. And I think that time is going to be coming around sooner than later. But to understand Gervonta Davis today, you got to understand what he's been dealing with in recent years. You know what I mean? His personal life has been public, been messy, heavily criticized. He's had legal issues, promotional issues, management issues, long layoffs, periods where it seemed like boxing was the last thing on his mind. Seemed like he needed to go get some help to work on his mental health. And everybody needs that. But a lot of people think with these distractions that he was destroyed as a fighter. I don't know if I want to say that. But I do recognize that in many cases, that shit can be true. But sometimes distractions forge a certain darkness in a fighter, a chip on their shoulder, a hunger that wasn't there before. Gervonta Davis has always been a fighter who feeds off emotion. The disrespect fuels him. The doubt fuels him. The idea that fans think he fell off fuels him. That's why the worst thing an opponent can do is give Tank a reason to care, a reason to pay attention, a reason to prove a point. When Tank is unbothered, he's dangerous, man. But when Tank is angry or feels disrespected, it ain't even about him being dangerous no more. He becomes lethal, a lethal weapon. And as a matter of fact, he's a fighter. I call him, Gervonta Danny Glover, because he gloves up. And we know what he can do in that ring. His last fight against Lamont Roach, I get it. A lot of people don't want to let that go. I get it. Perfect example of his duality, you know what I'm saying? Even with the distractions, personal issues, promotional chaos, inconsistent training, long layoffs, Gervonta Davis still managed to secure a draw against a world-class fighter in a fight where many believed he was rusty and unfocused. And that's just the facts, you know what I'm saying? But let's be honest. Tank's performance wasn't his best. He didn't look sharp. He didn't look fully prepared, but he still was able to get a draw. Turn that down, Pocho. I'm almost done, okay? Yeah. But he was still able to get in there, man, and get a draw. Now, the knockdown. I'm not here to talk about that, but the bottom line is, even I feel Gervonta Davis should have been ruled. Go ahead, Choke. You okay? Even I feel like Gervonta Davis should have had a knockdown ruled against him. You know what I'm saying? I can't lie. Gervonta did look like there was some spots in the fight where he was looking uncomfortable. Poacher, turn it down a little bit for me, please. Yeah, that's good. You want to cover up? I'm about to go upstairs. Here. Good? All right. Little man like to be with daddy. So I had to hook him up, let him chill in here with me. But the bottom line is, although I think Tank should have had a knockdown ruled against him, you just got to be fair. You know what I'm saying? He still made the fight competitive. A half-focused Gervonta Davis earned a draw with an elite fighter. A fully focused Gervonta Davis probably would have dominated, but you got to give respect to Lamont Roach. Gervonta was trying to tell us there's something special about Lamont Roach. You guys will see. So maybe Gervonta Davis didn't go in there with the confidence that he normally has because he was very familiar with Lamont Roach, and he knew it wasn't going to be an easy fight. But I tell you what, that fight put Lamont Roach on the map. You know what I'm saying? And everybody knows that now. Lamont Roach actually he's been able to go on to lock in a big fight against Isak Pitbull Cruz that takes place this weekend? I think December 6th right here in Texas. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Lamont Roach performs and if he can capitalize off the big fight with Gervonta, although it was just a draw. Many people felt he deserved to win. See if he can go on and get, another huge win against a killer like Isak Pitbull Cruz. But the bottom line is, even the people who criticize Gervonta, even the people who say he deserved to lose because of the knee, even the people who pretend Lamont Roach had Tank figured out. You coming back? Okay. Even the people who feel Lamont Roach had Tank figured out, I tell you what, put that same version of Roach in front of Tank when Tank is fully locked in. I think we all know the ending is different. And this is what fighters need to understand before they get brave, okay? Because Tank Davis, people talking about he's done. Tank is not done. Tank is not washed up. He's not declining, I don't think. He's not losing his power. He's not falling apart. But I do think he's trying to find the right balance between being a fighter, being a dad, and dealing with all the BS. And that's not easy. You know what I'm saying? I've been through shit like that. Work, family life, different things that I understand to a certain extent. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt without me getting into my shit. But I think we all can understand, you know what I'm saying? But when you have that little bit of turmoil in your life, it don't mean you're falling apart. The bottom line is once you get refocused, and people who still think that you're having, because right now people think Tank is all over the place. That man right now, Tank is probably refocused and locked in, and he's just a giant who hasn't fully woken up yet. But I tell you this, when he does, the division will feel it immediately. Fighters like Shakir Stevenson, we know Devin Haney's bubbled up to 147. Shakir's going to 140. But even Frank Martin, somebody he wants a rematch, shit. I'll put it this way. Shakir, Devin, Frank Martin, Keyshawn Davis, Lomachenko, who's retired, is talking about he may come back, but I don't think he's going to do it to fight Pacquiao. Even the bigger names, man. Well, I wouldn't say the bigger names, but the other guys. The Teofimo, Ryan wanting a rematch. All of them are talking real confident when Tank is inactive. Lomachenko the only one who's kind of cool. But for the most part, the other ones, they're talking real crazy. But the moment he announces a fight, that tone is going to change. The interviewers get quieter. The bravado drops. The respect increases. Start using phrases like, it's a tough fight. Tank is dangerous. He's got power. You got to respect it. You know why they say that? They know. They've seen the film. They felt his presence. They understand the risk. They know Gervonta Davis ain't no joke. Don't get me wrong, those are all competitive fights, but they know what makes Gervonta Davis so unique is that he is one of the few fighters who can take a fight from you with one mistake you make. You can outbox him for 6 rounds. You can dominate him early. You can frustrate him. You can make him look human. And none of that matters. You know why? Because he only needs 4 seconds of opportunity. One misjudged distance, one lazy jab, one moment of overconfidence, and then it's over. You're out of there. That is the curse of fighting a knockout puncher. You can do everything right and still lose everything in one exchange. The narrative around Tank has been shaped by negativity because people see the vulnerability in his personal life. And hey, when it's out there, it's out there. People are going to talk about it, right? It is what it is. The public owns you. These guys doing YouTube shit, even me, I do my little YouTube boxing shit. Public owns my ass. If somebody want to come and do a Hood Champion hate channel, I'll be like, oh shit, I'm famous. You know what I mean? But I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, man. When your shit is out there, your shit is out there, It is what it is, man. But one thing is for sure. That same vulnerability for Gervonta Davis can turn into intensity inside the ring. Tank fights with emotion. He fights with pressure. He fights with a mentality that says, if I hit you clean once, your night is over. And when fighters reach that mindset in their career, when they move past fear, past doubt, past insecurity, they become almost impossible to beat. Remember, I said impossible, because anything can happen in a fight. But at the end of the day, I got to tell you to hold your horses and let's not take it to the stupid. Gervonta Davis is nothing to play with, inside the ring or outside the ring. He's a man who has been through storms. He's a fighter with real-life scars and real-life losses. And historically, fighters who go through that kind of adversity come out either broken or explosive. Tank seems to be choosing the explosive route. We won't know until he gets back in the ring. The Roach fight proved he still has everything he needs to dominate. He just has to lock in. Now, it's just about locking in. As a matter of fact, throw the key away. Cut out distractions, waking up fully and reminding the world why his name strikes fear in every individual in them lower weight classes. When this sleeping giant awakes, I'm telling you, it's going to be a nightmare for whoever stands across the ring from him, especially if he's back locked in. It's going to be a problem. Anyway, everybody should be terrified because, to be honest with you, I think Gervonta Davis is just heating up. Don't wake the giant. And if you do, be ready to deal with the shit that comes with it. Yo, y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.